We're live, y'all. It's the Chai Capital Millionaire Podcast. My name's Charles Oglesby, also known as Chai Millionaire, here with Miss Michelle Welch. What's going on, Michelle?
I am blessed, y'all. What is going on?
We out here on the West and East Coast, and we have a special guest, Miss Allison Dunn, Mrs. Allison Dunn. And she owns a company called Hibiscus Brew Cafe. It's a Jamaican travel destination for the best sorrel in Brooklyn. And she's been featured on Travel Noir, Refinery 29, New York Post, Fox 5 New York, News 12, BK, NBC New York, and Forbes. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I know we've been trying to get this going, but we're here. And what's really cool is I was looking at your page. You have a really, really nice looking store. It's a storefront. We don't talk to a lot of people that have actual storefronts, let alone actual storefronts in Brooklyn, because it's not cheap to do anything in New York. So we can learn a lot from you. Can you tell us who you are and where you're from?
Sure. I'm Allison Dunn. I'm originally from Jamaica and I'm here now in Brooklyn. I'm the owner of Hibiscus Brew Cafe, and we're really seeking to bring a slice of the Caribbean to Brooklyn. We focus on health and we have a lot of smoothies, lattes, and our signature sorrel drink, which we try to use in as much of our recipes as possible. And, we're just here spreading some love in Brooklyn and trying to spark joy through food.
I'm looking at I'm sorry. I'm looking at
Oh yeah, go ahead.
the food. Oh, I love food so much. And as soon as I see hear what's going on, what is sorrel? What is that?
So that is a drink very popular in the Caribbean. It's really a blossom from a plant, and we used to steep it and make this drink that we call sorrel. A lot of people know the buds by Hibiscus roselle, but it's the same thing that we use to make this tasty drink that we generally enjoy around the holiday time. But I'm trying to get people to drink it every day because it's super healthy, has tons of vitamins, and it's something you can drink every day.
So I'm always interested. How did you get started in the business? What did the early days look like?
The early days, that's pretty very interesting story. I really had no plans of starting this cafe. And during the pandemic, just like most people, my other business that I started was basically put on ice because of the pandemic. And being in this community, I saw that there was a cafe for sale, and I kind of jumped on the opportunity, and within 2 weeks we were up and running. So yes.
So you bought it, rebranded it.
Basically, yes.
If you don't mind me asking, because I'm always interested in acquiring businesses, what was that process like? How did you know that you were buying a deal that made sense?
I really didn't know much. So what happened? I was in a class actually for entrepreneurship through the city. So I was trying to get my other business that was a year old, really trying to figure out the kinks in the business. So I understood a little bit about the process, but in terms of what I really needed to do, I just leaned in on my resources. I talked it over with my husband and we kind of look at the finances of the business. So he's a CPA, so that helped a little bit.
That helps.
Or that helps a lot. So we looked over the numbers. We have never signed a commercial lease before. And based on my resources, I was able to get a lawyer. They looked over the contract. We really liked the people we were buying from. We tried to ask a lot of questions, but also just kind of going in with faith to say that, okay, these figures look good. I live in the area. I think I kind of understand what's going on around here and what's needed. And I think I could do something well with the space. And so far, so good. It's still a journey, but we're enjoying as we grow.
That's beautiful. So I love that you have a team. It sounds like you have a pretty solid team. So how has having a solid team allowed this process to be a little bit easier for you?
It definitely helps because I think when you're in business, there's so many things that you have to do or have to know. And just having people that you can lean on. I have a mentor that I talk to every Friday. So I just try to utilize all the resources, ask a lot of questions, do a lot of research. What I don't know, I'm going to ask, and I'm going to ask for help at the same time. So I think that really helps when starting anything.
Yeah. Have you always been entrepreneurial? Because I hear you referring to another business. Has this been a thing for you?
It's in my bones. It's kind of like growing up in Jamaica. You start early in school at 11. I used to have a candy shop business, and I think from my mom, who has always had her own small business, I think that's where that comes from. So it's nothing new to me, although I really started out my career in marketing, and I did that for 8 years before starting my home organizing business, Neat Rules, which is like around 3 years old now, and now doing hibiscus brew.
Mhm. How important is marketing as a business owner?
Very important. It is super important. And right now, I'm doing all the marketing for my business. You really have to stay engaged, really have to know your customers. I always say to people, not because you open a business and it's in a good location means that people are going to come in and shop with you. There are so many other businesses on the strip, so many other businesses nearby. People can do the things at home themselves. So you really have to market to get them through the door, market for them to come back. So it's very vital to have good marketing for your business.
I like that. So, because I'm looking at your Instagram page and it is so aesthetically pleasing. It looks so peaceful and clean. And so it looks very, very healthy. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys serve? Like, what does a day to day there look like?
Sure. So we really want to be the place of choice for people to start their day. So we do have coffee and other wellness lattes. You'll get matcha, turmeric, all of the good healthy stuff. And then we definitely have smoothies. We try to get fruits, vegetables in. And again, the sorrel, which is kind of like it's the signature drink. So we have it in a non-alcoholic wine, which we're trying to get into retail stores right now. But it's also in the smoothies, it's in the iced tea. We have a vegan sorrel ice cream that is just so delicious. Um, and we have it in like a lot of our drinks. So it really is the star of the show.
Mm. How
Awesome.
did you
Can
come up
we
with the recipes? Are these like family recipes, or is this something that you created yourself?
Well, when I just open, I really put on the menu things that I like. I love eating healthy and working out. So that's where that came from. The sorrel is made by my mom. So she definitely has that Caribbean recipe with her. So we hold
That's
that
cool.
there.
That's awesome. So, was it hard to make decisions on like your menu choices and things like that?
Well, initially, when we started out, again, because I have no experience in this space, we started out with a very big menu. I really didn't know what I was doing. So I started out big. And then as we watched sales and watched what people are buying, we eventually trimmed down the things that weren't selling as well. And that was a hard decision for me because at that time, I think one of my team member, the manager I had, didn't like the idea of doing that because, oh, we have people that really wanted it. But as a business person, sometimes you have to know when it's time to stop something and move on. And I think that was kind of the best decision because it was it wasn't going as fast as you would want it to. And I'm like, if people were going to buy it, they would have bought this a long time ago and really be into it. So we really just cut down the things that were not working, have a smaller menu, and then things even in the store was running more efficiently because there's less things to focus on, and we
Mhm.
could just focus on making the things better. So I think that really helped.
That's
That's
important
what it is.
because a lot of people, when they first start in the business, they have a lot of different products, things that they like. But your customer, I always tell people, your customer is going to tell you what you should be selling. Firstly, and we say that for a few reasons. Because the first is that you're going to, I mean, you want to focus on what's making money. but I never thought about it actually making you more efficient as a business. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, we want to make more money, but also it's like you become better at doing what you do. So you can probably improve that product that people are buying and your systems work better. So now it's less work on you. You're not having to make 10, 20 items. You're just focusing on those 5 or however many items that are selling.
Yeah. I always hear people say sometimes like focus, I have like a smaller menu and focus on the things that and just make them better. And I think it's so true because sometimes when you have a big menu, and even now when there is so much shortages worldwide with getting ingredients, it's such a hassle trying to find the things that we need right now. And then you can't find it. And it's so much research and work. So I think what we're doing right now is working. We definitely trim down, and I think people have been raving about the drinks, the service, the space. So I think we're in a very good space right now.
How much of your marketing do you think, well, how much of like how you design the store? Because it's an all pink store. You don't see all pink stores. How much of that did you like strategically position as like maybe marketing or branding or to set yourself apart?
Well, I really wanted to be different from everything else that is in the neighborhood. I really wanted to stand out. And I also wanted it to represent a little bit of Jamaica, bringing the tropics to Brooklyn. So the person who was doing the writing on the store, the logo, told me that, hey, we should do this color. And I'm like, yes, I think it would be really good. I really want something that sparks joy, that is like super trendy and nice. And then he did the pink, and then I got another company to do the flowers. And I think it really worked well together to just have a space. I hear a lot of people come all the time and they tell me that the space sparks joy. And that is really what we're trying to do here. We're really trying to build community and have a space that sparks joy, that people can come, they feel good, they eat healthy, it's nourishing, you feel better.
I mean, I'm looking on the Instagram right now and I'm on the picture of the front of the store where there's flowers all over the top and flowers on the side. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, you see my smile, it just feels so, I just want to go eat a bowl and have a smoothie. Like, I want to live my best
Yes,
life. And do a lot of people come in there to create content? Like, do people do
Right.
they do.
content? Okay, because I'm like,
Yeah.
Charles, we need to go do like a recording.
Yeah, I think I
The
might have saw a
TikTok
TikTok of
followers.
somebody talking about your restaurant. I remember seeing a TikTok and somebody was at an all pink restaurant, all pink cafe. And then when I saw your page, I was like, I think that's the same one. I don't know. It went viral. Maybe that was you. Maybe you wouldn't know because people do it so much, but
Yeah,
yeah,
people post a lot of content to the point that I don't have to create as much anymore, which is like super helpful.
that's a
Yeah,
hack.
that's true. So,
Create
do you guys
something
have
that you
to?
want to create content at.
Is the maintaining the store just the aesthetic and everything in it? Is that does that become costly?
Well, we have changed the flowers once. So the new flowers, we plan to change it out to really keep it fresh. So that part would be like the biggest cost to like redo the flowers. But apart from that, I would not. We paint all the time. If there's any chips, scrapes, we want to like touch it out. We really want to just like preserve the space and like have it looking like photo ready all the time. So I would say that yes, but I think with proper maintenance, that helps too. Every day we're really trying to just clean up, maintain the stuff, take care, put love into the store because that's who
Yeah,
we are and that's the kind of vibe and space we want to create.
I definitely get that from you. So, what's something that you didn't expect going into business that happened with the store that you didn't expect would happen?
Finding staff or managing people. That's
It's
kind of
hard out
like
here for an
it's
entrepreneur.
hard out here, but it's a process and it's a journey, and every day we're just getting better.
So I'm in service-based business as well. I own a cleaning company, and staffing is always is one of my biggest issues. For other service industry providers, can you drop some tips on maybe what you did to find good staff for your location?
I think really knowing what you want. I think sometimes when, like, for me as a business owner, I said this a few weeks ago, that sometimes you really have to know what you want and what the expectations are and not be too flexible, because sometimes I didn't really understand why other business had like such specific rules, but you see that a
Yeah.
lot of us sometimes interpret things differently. So it's really good to know what you want and really have a system in place so that it's clear to everyone what the expectations are. And at the end of the day, we're all humans, and you still have to have that human aspect and like show empathy and really care and have that concern. But you really also have to know what you want, what the expectations are, and be clear about that as well.
I agree.
100%.
Expectations are big, so
Yeah, that's one thing I found is I'll bring on somebody, and if I don't make it clear from the beginning, like honestly, like brutally clear, because like they at the end of the day, if you don't make your expectations clear and they work a week, they want to be paid for that week. But if you don't make your expectations clear and they don't produce what you wanted in a week, you're upset and they still expect to be paid.
Yes,
And so it's
yes.
like you got to be willing to be a jerk from the outset. That's just what not even I wouldn't say a jerk, but just be clear and let them know the expectations from the outset so that there's no misunderstandings here. Either you produce or you don't get paid. It's not just you show up and so you get paid.
Yeah, you have to be very, very specific, and know what you want. And I sometimes think as business owner, it's like it's clear to you, but just going back, I did a class recently. I was a part of the Goldman Sachs program, and I still talk about this module until today. We were asked to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and we were put into different groups in class. And when we were done, we were supposed to read out the steps to the instructor so he could make the sandwich. And when the different groups read the instructions, it wasn't a peanut butter sandwich as you would expect. He put the jelly on top and it was flipped over. And we're like, that's not what we mean. And he was like, but these are the instructions that you put. So it
oh,
needs to be clear. So when you say put the two pieces of bread together, make sure bread one with the jelly and the peanut butter are facing together to close and not the other way around. So that was kind of like very eye opening for me to say that when you speak, sometimes you know what you want, but the other person is not interpreting the instructions the same way. So be very clear, have a process,
It's a
that
gem.
way everyone can be on the same page and the expectation is the same across the board.
you just
That
made
is
go
eye
off.
opening.
Like, can we editor if we need that grab those numbers. We need that clip. That is so insightful because it's true. Like your intention may be there for what you want someone to do, but we have to remember that not everybody operates at the capacity we do. So
Exactly.
we want something pink, but our version of pink might be a completely different
Different.
color to them. And I love that. And I think for what you've created, you have a storefront. Things have to work in a process and a structure. You have to be organized. You have to know exactly what you want. So are you familiar? Do you have a digital business or anything like that?
No.
Are you
A
familiar with the
digital,
digital world? Like,
no.
Or ecom.
or e-com? That's what I mean. You guys ship items, correct?
Oh yes, yes, yes. So right
Okay,
now
I'm
we're just
sorry.
we're
I
just
said it
shipping
wrong.
on sorrel and a few pins and stuff. But
Okay,
I'm
Mm.
working on a new website to do
What's the
that.
website?
Hibiscusbrew.co. But it's not
HIB.
there yet because I'm waiting for the new website to come.
Oh.
I was on. If you go to the Instagram and you can go to the square because I'm on it right now. I'm about to order some sorrow. I'm right here on the website. But is it? Do you think it would be easier to just do like if you didn't have a storefront versus just like selling the sorrow digitally, like on an ecom platform?
Well, I think I want to do both because right now we're still introducing people that don't know about sorrel in the store. They can pick it up, but I really want the new website that I'm creating. It's going to be focused more on the products So it will be about really shipping the sorrel and getting it out there. And then also another phase is to get it into grocery stores. So I think I'm working on 3 things at once for the sorrel.
Mm,
Like I really want it to be known.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. So how do you manage your time?
That's a very good question. I really have to know what I plan to do for the day and really write it down beforehand before starting the day. If not, I can get caught up in so many things throughout the day. So for me, in my head, I have certain days that I want to do certain things on. So if I get a call, I'm scheduling things on certain days that I want. Like if I'm doing phone calls and interviews, I want to do that on a specific day. So that's kind of like one of the ways I kind of manage my time, because if not, I realize that I'm going back and forth. I'm getting tired, drained. So I really have to have a structure for my week.
Yeah.
I love
But
that.
even day to day, I want to get up, get my son to school. I'll stop by the business, check in, and then I want to come back home, and then I'll do work from home on my laptop, because my role is really to grow the business, check in and make sure that my repeat customers, they're still there. Like really focus on that part of the business, the social media. And then I trust my staff enough so they can run the store and they can operate without me actually being in the store every single day.
How did you get to that point? Because a lot of people, they struggle with letting go, and you've only been in this business for, I mean, a few years.
I've let go from
And
like 6 months in.
right.
Like I
How
knew that the only way to grow was to not micromanage and do everything. I cannot do everything and I do not want to do everything. And also just having business advisors and mentors tell you who have gone through it and know, um, really say that to you. And I really went back and forth a little bit, because sometimes you meet other people who are like, oh, you have to be in the business, you have to be there. And I think to myself, why? It's like, oh, people are going to do all of this. But every time I think about it, the little things that I'll be there to stop will not get me to where I want to go. Like I can be in a business worrying about, oh, people might steal money. How much money can they possibly steal compared to if I'm not there to grow the business to make it bigger? So for me, my teacher said it best. A business is like a car. And if you're in the business, you can either be the wheel or the steering wheel. The business cannot work without you. If you are letting the business, working on the business, you can be the driver and you can really enjoy some control, but you still have to focus on the road because you have to stay focused, but you still have to be there. But if you let the business work for you, you can be in the back seat and your team is actually driving and helping you. And that's where I want my business to be.
in the
I want
back
to let
seat?
my business work for me. So I want to be in the back seat. So I have to trust my staff to do the right things. And to be honest, it's hard still. But at the same time, you constantly like educate and you try to get your staff better. You get better about what you want to do as well. And you just have to trust them to do the right thing. And if they make decisions that might not be the best, that's when you talk, that's when you educate them. And, you can only get better from there on out. So I am definitely not going to be the one being in the business trying to micromanage the business. I want more hibiscus brews. I want a lot of them. So,
I love it.
you have to really decide where you want to be in life.
You're just so exciting. I love all the analogies your mentors pour into you. Like, I just think it's so great because sometimes people don't digest what you're trying to say to them without giving them a mental picture. And I'm sitting here like, she's so right. Like, I'm in
Mhm.
the back seat. I'm being chauffeured. Like, I got my laptop out, still working. Like,
When I go to the dealership, I sit in the back seat. I don't sit in the front
yes.
seat.
And I think having that mentality early in business, because she said 6 months in, she was like, I'm done. I don't want to be here. Like, y'all do this. Like, you have to, like, that was my problem in business. I was so emotionally attached to my business that, like, I couldn't even think of the thought of not working in it. And now, like, as I've gotten older, I'm like, I want nothing to do with it. Like, leave me alone. I'm paying you guys. I want to do my own thing. So I totally feel you. And I just think for you, it's like a blessing that you realize that like as soon as you were in it, because it took me about 3 years to realize like I don't want to clean toilets anymore. I want to be out here teaching other people
but someone has to grow the business, and it generally is not going to be the staff growing the business. So I think you really have to just like take a step back. And I think sometimes as business owners, we just think that no one else can do the job like us.
How do you get out of that mode? Because so many people struggle with that.
But it's not true. People can do the job. You need to find the right people, and that even starts from your interview process. So like again, in class, I have always, like, most of my interviews are done mostly on behavior. So I really don't care what you tell me that you can do. I care about what you have done in the past to show me what you will do. So when you come in and I do the interview, I normally say I test for behavior to see how they would operate, and then I can teach you the technical skills. But anyone can make a smoothie. Like, we're not operating surgery over here. And how I judge them is based on customer reviews. We have a 4.8 rating. Very rarely do we ever get a review that's not good. And most times, very rarely, it's 4.8. It's really good. That's how I judge my staff. And I'm like, if the reviews are coming in good, the repeat customers are coming in good, they must like something. So although I would have made it the smoothie and mine might taste a tad better than yours is like really excellent and customers are loving it. So why do I have to be there making it every single day? You can do it, and you can follow a recipe. Like, these are smart people. People are smart, and you just have to equip them with the right knowledge so that they can perform their best.
I think the number one thing, I'm sorry, Charles. I think the number one thing I'm taking from everything you're saying is like, you have to just be very clear on what you want, your expectation for everything, because everything leads to what you've created, what you want, what you set forth. So expectation is like the key thing to running an organized business, because if people know what's expected, there's no way to really drop the ball.
There's not. And I didn't hear you, Charles. I didn't hear you.
Do you have an MBA?
No, I do not. I just have a bachelor's, and I just finished the Goldman Sachs program for entrepreneurship.
The Goldman Sachs program for entrepreneurship. We got to talk about that after you guys finish talking about the points you're talking about. I'm curious. Michelle want to join too. You're just dropping all these gems.
Because listen, one thing I'll do is I'll invest in my masterminds and things like that, and I just think that's so important. And that leads us to this, because it's like, you know, my best friend, she has invested like $35,000 at one time into a mastermind. She's done over $200,000 worth of like entrepreneurial training. I've done over like $75,000, but like, what does that look like for you? Because you have a degree, you've done the Goldman Sachs for. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
I take a lot of classes too. So like for me, everything that I can find, I can get my hands on, I'm taking it. The city offers like a lot of classes as well. I take them all. So, and I think that has really helped to shape who I am today, because these are experts telling you how to run. And just from my experience, it actually works. And, you know, if you really want to grow your business, especially the Goldman Sachs class, it was focused on growth for the next 5 years. If you really want to grow, sometimes you realize that the only thing that is holding you back is your mindset. So, you know, if you can get into a growth mindset and this is how I'm going to get there, it really becomes easier after that.
Is it called Launch with the GS?
Goldman Sachs?
Is the program called Launch?
No, it's Goldman Sachs 10K small business program.
Okay. All right. That's cool. How long is that program?
3 months, 3 to 4 months. Yeah,
I like it.
Charles, I think we should collectively do a millionaire podcast Goldman Sachs class.
We're gonna be so much better after we do it. So much better.
I think we would. I think it would help the show, your co-host. Like, I just think that'd just be great.
Look at it's a really awesome program.
Yeah. No, and so what was one of the biggest things you learned being in that program? Like, what was one of the biggest, like, oh my gosh, like that helped you?
The thing that I say all the time is just think how big it can get. Like they did this class, and we were supposed to just think how big the business can get. So like what you want to achieve now, but just think of like a spaced out idea that you might not even think that is possible. And then they really carried it down into like knowing your numbers. So when I started the program, I don't remember how much money I said I wanted to make, maybe 10 million. I'm not really clear. But after you went through the entire program and I'm looking to grow my sorrel and all of that, I really had to think how many bottles I have to sell, how much I have to sell per month. And then it's like, is it even possible? Like with what you're doing now, the staff and everything, then it really gives you a clear idea of, am I just dreaming or can I actually achieve this? So I think that was everything about the program was just so good, and they really build upon it. So it's a really great program.
10K program.
Charles. It's a great program.
How much does being in New York like inspire you entrepreneurially and just towards success? Because I know being in LA, like you're just inspired and you don't really realize that you're inspired until you leave it. So maybe you don't really realize you're being pushed and driven, but do you realize the pull of New York?
I think New York is a place that dreams happen. Like if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But I think it also goes back to even just how I was brought up. Like in Jamaica, everyone has multiple jobs. So I think that has always been a part of me. Because when people ask me a lot, it doesn't seem like anything great. I've always been doing this. I've always had a business. I've always done something in school, in college. In college, I was selling clothes. I used to travel to New York and I used to go back home and I used to sell clothes to my other college friends. So I think this is something that I've always done. But I think just being in New York, I think that helps because like this is the only place to really make it. Or if you're going to start something, there's so many opportunities. But I also believe that just a part of how I was brought up and what I've done prior has helped as well.
So because you said that and you said that as like Jamaican culture, you're used to selling things. What I found is African American culture is a little bit different, where in African American culture, you're kind of looked down if you're selling things. I don't know why that happens. I'm trying to shift the culture, but it's like I feel like if I popped up on campus like selling some stuff, they'd be like, "Well, why? Like, where'd you get this from? What's wrong with this?" Like, how do you grapple with that? Like, because I know you don't really experience it, but have you ever experienced it? Have you ever seen it? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I spent most of my years in Jamaica and it has never been a thing. It's
Right.
mostly you're Jamaican, you have like 10, who doesn't have like 10 jobs, always doing something, always having like a side hustle, a side business. Like one thing can never ever be like secure. So I don't have that experience at all.
Michelle, I don't know
I'm,
why.
I'm just taking notes because I'm like, I love her. She's so cool. Like,
She is
I
really cool.
you've done, I mean, looking at the business that you've built, I get so inspired by women. I love women so much because the things that we're able to create, we're moms, we create businesses, we create like lifestyles, and to see something so beautiful, I'm heavy on the digital product side, but you actually have like a tangible store that matches like your soul. Like I feel like when I look at the flowers, like that might be like a look into you because you're so pleasant. So I'm just like soaking it all in. Like you have mentors and you have people pouring into you and you have applied that and you pour it out. So it's like, why do you feel like it's so important for you to have mentors? And how did you find your mentors? That's another thing too.
Again, I find my mentors through the city. I also build relationship. I don't have just one mentor. I talk to so many people each day that advise me on different things. But definitely I've gotten mentors through SCORE. They're like a good resource
We
here
have
in
store here in Florida. Yeah.
SCORE. Okay, yes. So
I'm in South
I've
Florida.
used
I know
a
all
few
about
I've used a few mentors from there, which is awesome. But it's really just learning because every time I have a problem, I always look and say, what could I have done differently? Because sometimes it's easy to blame the other person to say, oh, they should have done this, and it's because of this why we get that result. But I always feel like there was something you could have done that would have
Mhm.
shifted that relationship. And just being able to have that understanding. When I talk to people who have done this, they always give me a different perspective on how I could be looking at things differently. And just getting that information, that knowledge, every time I'm stuck on something, I could talk it over with my mentors, and they always give me really solid, good advice. So I think that has really helped my business a lot and just me growing as a person.
What is one thing about entrepreneurship that almost nobody agrees with you about?
That's a
Mm,
good one.
doesn't agrees with me about. Hold on. Doesn't agree with me about. That's a pretty tough one. I could tell you a lot of things about entrepreneurship that people think it's easy, but it's not. I think one would be thinking that when you have your own business, that you have all the freedom and time in the world to do what you want to do. That's not really true. Um, you'll have you'll manage your time. Again, not really true, because people are dependent on you to fix things, and people are dependent on you to know things. Like, one of the biggest things that I realize is, like, all the managers that I thought in the past were doing nothing because they were just sitting in the office, you just realize how much work they have to actually do, because as the manager, you have to know more than your staff to really lead them. So they have to be very knowledgeable in order to tell you what to do. And I think that's one of the things that I realize with entrepreneurship. You really have to know the work inside out to really direct your staff on what to do. And it's a lot of work. When I started, I worked like a lot of hours, maybe 12 hours a day, 12, 14 hours. Now at 6 o'clock, I really want to be signed off to spend time with my son. And on the weekends, if it's not an emergency, I'm not going in. So my weekends are mine. I'm taking control of my time. And after 6, I really don't want to work. You have to shut off in order to be your best self the next day.
And that's what you call, when you master your minutes, you can master millions.
That's true.
I'm a time management and productivity coach. So like everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, time block, day theme, do it. Yes, manage your
Yes,
time.
you have to. You have to. Like, I remember I would jump for everything initially. And then after a while, I'm like, you have to have some structure. So I'm going to check my email at a certain time. I'm going to
Mhm.
do calls at a certain time. I'm going to do them all back to back and not breaking up my day, because it gets very exhausted really quickly,
Yeah.
So
I only check my emails like maybe 2 times, like in the morning and then the afternoon, because it's like, what are you looking for? You're waiting for a problem to pop up? Like, I had to stop that. And it's the same thing with phone calls. Like, I block everything out at certain hours because I'm like, if I left
yeah,
my phone open, it would ring all day. Like, no.
all day long. Yep. That's kind of me too.
I just love the way you operate your business. It's just, you're just
Yeah,
like,
me
no,
too.
we're not doing
That's the
that.
most inspiring thing.
Mm-hmm.
The most inspiring is like how you bossed up. You bought the business, you put people in place, and you run it like a CEO.
You
I love
have
that.
to. Like, every time people come in and they're like, this small business, I'm like, we're going to run this like a multi-million corporation, because no matter where you work, or it's a small business. I remember one of my employees said, but this is not Wall Street. I'm like, it's not, but we're going to run this the same way, because at the end of the day, if you want something to be good, like excellence, you have to have excellence anywhere you go. And you realize it's the same type of work. As much as it's serving coffee, you still have to have HR in place. You still have to have finance. You still have to do every single thing. You might be doing it on different scales, but to run an effective business, you still need all of those things. So it's really like learning quickly and not be stuck. I am one who I don't mind change, and I'm not going to be stuck over something. I'm just going to try and figure out a way to fix it. I don't mind failing fast and keep it moving, but I'm not going to stay stuck in one place waiting for different results by doing the same thing. That's
That's
never ever going to be me.
I rather fail fast and keep it moving. I like
Yeah.
it.
Real quick. Let's tweet that real quick. Listen, we have so many snippets that I'm taking from this conversation because she said it a couple times, perspective. We talk to millionaires every day to gain their perspective, and everybody has a different way that they've gotten successful, and it's not the same thing. Like with the example you made of how someone did the peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah.
I put my jelly on and then I put my peanut butter over my jelly. I don't know why I do that, and that's crazy. But you're probably like, no, like you got to put the peanut butter on first, and then you. So it's like everyone does it different. But I feel like now I have a different perspective in how I'm going to hire. Like honestly,
Yes.
because
hiring is so important. And also another thing that I learned in class is just like different personalities. So I don't manage my team with the same style. I adjust my management style based on by team members. So it's very, very good to understand where they are, if they're amiable, if they are a driver, an expressive, or they're an analytical.
Do you make them take a personality test?
I do.
Oh my gosh.
So I normally
Really?
go through, but
Like
yeah,
a
I
disc?
do. Yeah. But sometimes just by talking to them, I can easily pick up and see which area they fall on. And
I like
once I
that.
understand who they are as a person, I change my management style to meet them because I'm an expressive. So I know how I operate and I understand the things I like to get done and I know what my weaknesses are. And then when I go through everyone else, I make sure that I have a diverse group on the team as well to make sure that they play nicely together and I understand people's strengths and weaknesses. And that's really important in like managing your staff. People are going to be different and you can't use one management style to manage them. It will not work at all.
I'm glad you just cracked that egg open because I think that's a big thing with people that have a boss mentality is that it's my business. You're going to do it how I want to do it. And it's just like, if some people kind of stepped off that high horse of thinking like, this is my way or the highway. And it's like, but the people that are operating are not you. So it's our highway. Like we're all here.
And you have to be a very good listener, like, and not react to everything. Right now I hire like a lot of Gen Z people and it's like a whole different generation. They do things differently, so different from, what I'm used to. But like, listen, you have to be a good listener, understand what's going on. And I think, asking better questions, I care about my staff enough where I want the work done, but at the same time, I care about you as a person to ensure that you too are good. And that is so important in today's day and age. I really don't consider myself as a boss, but more as a leader. And that's what I want to be.
Yeah.
So
we got to bring this in for a landing. And we do have some wrap-up questions that we ask every guest, every podcast. And so we're not going to not ask you those questions either. And the first question is, what is your favorite business or investing book?
Business investing book?
Business or investing.
Oh, business or investing book?
Correct.
Okay. So one of the books that I am reading right now that I love is like I forgot the title, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I like that book.
That's a good one.
I like that book
How to
too.
Win Friends and Influence People.
It's a classic. The next question is, what sets apart successful entrepreneurs from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
Fear and confidence. Like, if you already tell yourself that you can't do it, you won't. And if you already tell yourself that the millions are just within grasp, you can get it.
Amen.
So the mindset, I would definitely say.
I agree.
That mindset will get
Um,
time.
what does wealth mean to you?
Wealth for me is really doing what I love, and happiness. I think it's not only to the zeros in your bank account at all. It's also your freedom of time, how you make people feel. Like I feel I'm wealthy in a lot of things, and because I'm doing things that sparks joy for me. So, you know,
I like it. I like it. This is a lot to learn from this story, but I think the most
So
important
much.
thing that I take from this story is stop being an employee of your business and be
Mhm.
the owner of your business. And I don't know if you got that all from the Goldman Sachs class, if you got that from your growing up, or you got that from Robert Kiyosaki or whoever, but it's cool to see it in practice because I tell people to do it so much
mhm.
and they fight me. And you're doing it and you did it fast. You didn't wait till you're 5 years in the business to do it, 10 years in the business to do it. And then what I also think is really important about this is it's like if you're in the business, you're going to get very good at being in the business, but being out of the business, you get very good at being out of the business. And so now you can become a better boss. Now you can start to implement different things to make sure that your management style is effective. And a lot of us never get to that point because we never step in those shoes. And you do
I
it
tell
and you
I
do
tell my staff, no, any day of the week I can come in and I can meet those lattes and I could pump out stuff because I've done it and I understand it. And the problems, if there's any that you see is in the business, I understand it because I've done it and I can do it any day. But it's very important to grow the business and be outside. And what I tell entrepreneurs all the time, if you get sick tomorrow, how does the business survive?
it.
Like if you're the only one in the business, and I see it happening constantly, someone gets sick, now the business is closing down, you're out of income. I want to make money in my sleep.
Mm.
So, you know, the cafe isn't even it for me. It's even the products. It needs to be somewhere else where people can buy it and get access to it all over the world.
I
She
love
says
it.
she wants dreams and dollars. Let's go.
Last question, as always, is where can they find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they support what you have going on?
So we're located at 54 Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn, and we're on Instagram at Hibiscus Brew, and our website is www.hibiscusbrew.co.
Nice. Michelle, any announcements? Anything you have coming up?
My birthday is about to be here, guys. I turn 30 next Thursday. Yes. New decade.
And what she wants for her birthday is
I want you guys to donate to my nonprofit. The Single Parent Purpose is a 501c3 nonprofit, and I am the founder of it. And I assist single mothers and single fathers on financial freedom, stability, and understanding that they have a tribe and you are not in this alone. So for my 30th birthday, y'all can donate to
if
a
you
bigger
listen to the
cause.
podcast, show her some love, y'all. She's shown love to you guys. She's showed up. She's provided value. She's helped you in some capacity. I know she has. And so return the favor, y'all. Make sure you guys support Michelle and her mission to help single parents in these streets. Our next live episode is going to be in Los Angeles, I believe.
I can't wait.
And it's going to be lit. We're trying to get Magic Johnson, y'all. So hopefully we can get Magic Johnson. If we can get Magic Johnson, we'll win. But there's a lot of other really cool people. We can get David Gross. We can get a lot of really cool people out there. It's going to be a good conversation, nevertheless. So make sure you guys are in the know for the tickets as they come available. Also, make sure you join us on the Patreon at www.moneyteamtc.com. You can join for as little as $2. $2. But you know what you get when you invest in us? You get a better podcast. You get a better production. So as you guys invest in us, we're going to continue to return that favor back to you and improve the quality of the product that we're giving to you guys. So, I mean, we're going to do it either way. But if you guys want to continue to see it, join the Patreon. And we're also going to continue to add value there. We're doing some private lives. We're doing some private events. So when you are at that live podcast event, if you're a part of the Patreon, you get to have dinner with us. You get to maybe go out with us afterwards. So join the Patreon family. Don't just watch. Participate. And with that, this wraps up another amazing episode of the Millionaire Talk Show. We got Miss Allison Dunn for the second time because the first time we didn't make it, but this time we made it. And I'm happy that we did because I learned a lot and I was inspired. And hopefully I can get into this Goldman Sachs 10K program so I can get my entrepreneur game even stronger. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, with Miss Michelle Welch and Miss Allison Dunn. We're out of here.
Yes. That was such a good episode.